This is One Fat Boy, and here are my NBA game predictions for February 1st of 2022. Tonight there's 7 games. I will be going over the spreads and over-unders. Quick note, I got my spreads from FanDuel, and this is like a couple hours after the game, so the spreads will change slightly over the night, and then the over-unders have not been released yet, so they're just my thoughts on what the games will end up as. For New Orleans at the Pistons, I will be leaning towards Detroit -2. Personally, I would not bet on the spread on this game, but if I were to lean towards a team winning, I'd lean towards Detroit, as the Pelicans will boo out Ingram. They will have Valanciunas back, but I think Ingram is an important part for the Pelicans to win. And then Detroit has most of their team back, plus they're playing at home, so that's another boost for them. And then also Detroit in their last game beat Cleveland, and that's a quality win. And I expect that to continue, or I'd lean towards that continuing, or at least just a close game overall. And then for the over-under, I'll be going over 216.5, as the trend for Detroit's games for total points usually hangs around 220 to 224, somewhere in there. So that's over past 5 to 8 games. The average has been around there, so really towards 260.5 to give a little leeway. Then overall, I think I'm going to bet on someone. For Valanciunas, it will be his first game back after being ill, so I actually wouldn't expect nothing too wild from him. I wouldn't be betting over 20 points for him, or over 13 rebounds. I just kind of expect a lower average game from him as he's getting a feel for things. For the Wizards at the Bucks, so generally I don't go with the 11-point spreads, but for Milwaukee, I'm going to have to go with Milwaukee, as I'm sure they want to redeem that loss they had against Denver. And plus with Beal being out for the Wizards, there shouldn't be an excuse for Milwaukee losing this game. They're also playing in front of their home crowd too, but that probably doesn't mean much, but it's a little boost to Milwaukee, and a little dash against the Wizards. But Milwaukee should win this game pretty easily, and especially if Giannis has a good game. I was what more does he need to do for Milwaukee to win the game? I will lean towards over 217.5, as the Wizards defense should not slow down the Bucks at all. The Bucks should score at least 120. They should, but will they? Probably not. They'll probably be in that 112 range. And then the Wizards can put up a lot of stats. They can score the ball pretty well, even without Beal. You got Caldwell Pope, you got Kuzma, you got Dinwiddie. There's enough tools on there to really spread the floor. Shoot some threes. This is one of those games where if you can choose a lot of the players for bets, just put a lot of them hit 1 or 2 threes, and that can build a pretty safe and pretty decent payout. But overall, Milwaukee should win. They should win by a lot, and then it should be a high-scoring game. For Miami at Toronto, so will I expect this game to go in 3 overtimes? No. Will I expect Toronto to win again? I'll lean towards it, as Jimmy Butler's out for Miami, and that's really an advantage for Toronto. They both played last night too, and Toronto being a little more youthful, I think that's going to give a slight edge towards Toronto. Plus they're playing at home, another slight edge. So just a bunch of slight edges towards Toronto. It should lean towards them winning. I will go with under 220.5, because both teams did not play well offensively last night. And I will bet on the fact that one of those teams, either or, will just continue the fact that they won't have a good offensive night. If that's Toronto, if you think that's going to be Toronto, then just bet on Miami to win. But if I'm just going to lean towards Miami's going to struggle on offense, because without Butler, don't have that main facilitator for them. And that's just, I don't know, it's just, if you don't have that for your offense, it's just hard to get those easy baskets. It's going to be a lot of one-on-one, so you're going to have to lean towards Toronto. And then I think both of them will kind of have a hard time on offense, considering how they played last night. So I'll lean towards the under 220.5. For Denver at Minnesota, I'm going with Denver +3. So do expect Jokic to have like a good game overall, and then Minnesota can score the ball a lot. So it's really just who will like Towns have a better game or will Edwards have a better game. But I think Jokic, he can do what he did against Milwaukee and just like find the open man and they just knock down their shot. I think Denver has a very good shot of winning as they'll be able to outpace the Timberwolves without a problem. And I think Denver with Aaron Gordon, that gives them like some ability to switch on defense. And then Denver, they have decent rebounding with Jokic, so if there's missed shots, they should be able to get out of the rebound. Just that Minnesota, they have a lot of defensive gambles which pay off, just like those steals that they go for. So that's how they get their baskets. But overall, should be a high-scoring game, as like a lot of threes should be made by both teams. Got very talented offensive big men. Should be exciting game to watch, but high-scoring though. For the Magic at the Bulls, I'll lean towards the Magic plus 10.5. So Orlando's been scoring the ball well, and that's due to their more like wings and three-point shooting, and that's where the Bulls are struggling on defending. So do I expect the Bulls to win overall? Yes. I mean, they are the better team on paper, but will the Magic keep it close? I think they will. They should keep it within 10.5 points. Like Levine and DeRozan would have to do a lot of work. Vucevic is playing against his former team, so I'd like to think he'd try and play well against them. If you do have faith in that, I'd obviously bet for him to have a 2010 game. But just how he plays with the Bulls, that's not as likely. Like I do expect him to get like 10 rebounds. Probably just lean towards more like 8 plus for that. But for the Magic, just sprinkling a few players to hit a three or just get like 2 assists. And overall, this should be a high-scoring game as Bulls allow the Magic to score a lot, and vice versa. Magic will allow the Bulls to score a lot too, but over 221.5. For Golden State at the Spurs, we'll be going with Golden State minus 3.5. Even though the Warriors played last night, they are playing the Spurs. The Spurs, they compete. It's just, can they close out the games? That's what it comes down to. I think the Warriors are just better at closing out the games, hence why they have a better record than the Spurs, and just a better record overall, just in general across the league. So I'll just lean towards Golden State minus 3.5. Like they should win. This shouldn't be a problem for Golden State to win. I will be going over 218.5, as Warriors have been scoring the ball pretty well as of late, and then the Spurs, they can put up a lot of points. Will they against the Golden State defense? Maybe not as much. Like I could see them getting like stalwarted, but Golden State is on the second night of a back-to-back, so I do expect their defense to be a little bit more lax. Maybe not as much effort, so I do expect Spurs to get a few more easier baskets than the Warriors are more comfortable with giving up. So hence I'll be leaning towards an over in a Warriors game, which is something I usually don't do, but I will do it for this game. Do I expect Curry to have another 40-point night? No, but should he score 25? Yeah, but push 30? I don't know. There's just still a lot of players on Warriors who can get hot, and they usually try to swing the ball to them and try to disperse the shots around. So just for like a Warriors person to score over 30, it's like it'd only be Curry, I feel like. Do I expect him to score over 30? No, but 25, just more bet for Curry to get like 25. For the Nets at the Suns, I'll be leaning towards Phoenix minus 7.5. So Brooklyn, there's just a lot to say about this team, but it's like which team decides to show up. Like that's who you have to decide on. It's like I know Harden was out last game against the Warriors, and they still kept it close with just Kyrie, but that's because their role players stepped up and like made some important shots to keep the game close. And then the Suns, they just really don't play the first 3 quarters, just keep it close enough to where they just turn on the Jets in the 4th quarter and they win. But I think it's like a more decent opponent like the Nets. I think the Suns will play harder the first 3 quarters, and then just really blow them away in the fourth quarter. Just try to display their dominance over Brooklyn. That's what I think the Suns would do, but kind of the injuries, who's the big men that are coming back or not, it's like still trying to like incorporate them in. So I do expect kind of a close first half, but the second half the Suns should pull away. Hence, I'll lean towards Phoenix minus 7.5 personally. I would probably bump that down to like 3.5, or maybe just Brooklyn stay within 10. But that's what personally I would do. But I'd just lean towards a Phoenix win overall. I will expect a lot of scoring in this game as Kyrie, he's a hard person to stop. And he can get his teammates involved, so I think Brooklyn will score a decent amount, but I don't think Brooklyn's defense will slow down the Suns at all. So expect a high-scoring game. Thank you for watching. Comment any of your thoughts on the games overall for any like player props or spreads or over-unders. And once again, thanks for watching.